So fine, let
Yes,
me,
sir.
okay, fine. So let me start by, finding out, I'll say something about Paroma, then we will go ahead. Prem, are you able to see me?
Yes, sir. You're
Yeah,
visible
we are
audible
And,
also.
and you can hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So good evening. Let me welcome all participants and panelists here. We are on the third day of the very exciting webinar series, which is titled Earning from the Internet. A very, very interesting subject, a very different kind of a subject. Webinars normally deal with a variety of subjects, and we have done a host of webinars during the lockdown and even thereafter. So today we are here with you once again, and the topic for the webinar is earning from the internet. And we have with us a very, very exciting speaker. And let me introduce her to you. It is Paroma Ghosh. Paroma, who is a trained lawyer, she had quit her 10-year-old full-fledged law career to pursue her dream venture, and she has named that after herself, Paroma. Paroma, lovingly called Stories on Fabric, through threads, needles, and weaves, she tells stories of everyday stories from Calcutta and also from all over the world. Calcutta, of all things, she says, is her biggest muse. She has been translating picture postcards of the city on fabric. Shuli and Polash, the yellow taxi, the Howrah Bridge, wisecracks on buses, College Street, dialogues from Satyajit Ray's movies, forgotten lyrics and old songs, poems and love letters, they have become a part of her work. Nostalgia is also an underlying theme on the embroidered stories. She makes traditional ethnic wear, saris, blouses, and dhotis as well. Her main work areas of work: Katha, Batik, Jamdani, and hand embroidery. Currently, she has more than 75 women working at the Katha Batik unit in Shantiniketan, Bolpur. The Jamdani work is done in Murshidabad and Fulia. The stitching unit is located at the outskirts of Calcutta. Her company is 6 years old. The love for mundane and the love for simple things in life is what makes Paroma, she says. Okay, so that is a very brief introduction of Paroma. And with these words, I think what I will do is I will welcome Paroma to this show. And before I hand over proceedings to her, may I request my colleague, Dr. Indranil Mukherjee, Director, School of Management Sciences of the university, to say a few words on this occasion. Indranil, can you please say something?
Yes, very good evening to all the respected panelists. I welcome Paroma Ghosh to this evening's webinar. Thank you, madam, for joining us. I also welcome our old friend, Mom Mitro, to this webinar. Thank you,
thank
Mom,
you.
for joining us. And I would like to welcome all the participants to this webinar. This is a unique initiative on the part of the university. And let me tell all the panelists and all the participants that this has been a sequel to the initiative launched by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Shoikat Moitra. Maybe sir will join us sometime during the webinar, regarding leveraging the digital landscape and the internet in particular to transform our lives. Today, we have the pandemic-induced lockdown, not probably right now, but it really ravaged the world during the most part of the last year. But we are one step ahead of others in that using of digital technology and using the immense resources at our command through the internet. So our students, our researchers, our teachers were especially well equipped because our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, had started this journey way back in 2017 of how to use the digital pedagogy, digital technology, digital landscape, digital resources, all under a unified command. So you will hear more from our Vice Chancellor, sir, when he comes in. But I believe that we have already had a lot of discussions and deliberations about learning from the internet. Well, that will be an ongoing process, an ongoing effort. But meanwhile, this learning from the internet is surely a very, very unique initiative on our part. And let me thank my respected colleague, Professor Sujit Mukherjee, for undertaking this series of webinars, because this is what we plan to do. We need to sustain this effort. We need to sustain this momentum so that this leaves some very, very genuine footprints on the participants, on the student community, on society at large. So with these words, I once again welcome Paroma and hand over the floor to her.
Thank you. Thank you, Indranil. Before we leave the floor to Paroma, may I request Mo Mitra, who is a very, very good friend of ours of the university, and iLead is the organization she belongs to. Mo, would you also like to say a few words on this occasion before we start with Paroma?
Yes, because I got the opportunity, thanks to MAKAUT and Professor Dr. Moitro, for this initiative. So I got the opportunity because I'm part of iLead to organize this, and I planned every day for a very particular reason, so that the students, who or whoever is the attendee, got a chance to hear from experts from various fields. Now, Poroma is a unique choice because she is not, directly an influencer or, someone who runs a YouTube channel or something like that. So, but I chose her because I follow her for at least now 2 years. Okay. And simply because I don't even really buy her products, though I am not into traditional wear much. I don't buy her products, but I suggest it to other people. So imagine the power of her words and her product and her, and her story, that I am not even interested in her, products, because I'm not a consumer of her product, but I read her story almost every day. And I take time out, because she writes pretty long micro blogging like stories. And I take time out to read them because I connect with them on a certain level, as a Bengali, as a person belonging to the middle class, as a woman. So I connect on various levels, and she has kept me engaged for almost 2 years. She doesn't, before this, this interaction that we are having today, she was not aware of me. Okay, but I was aware of her. So that is, what she has done and why she is here today. So that is why I wanted a session on digital storytelling, and which she has perfected over the past 6 years. And that is how she has established her business. That is how she has 70,000 followers on Instagram and 50,000 followers on Facebook. And that is how she's running a profitable business. So this is another spectrum that I wanted to be covered, and that is why I invited her. So I think this is going to be a very interesting session. Let's all hear.
Okay, fine, Mom. Thank you for that introduction. We will now request Paroma to begin her presentation. Over to you, Paroma.
Thank you, everyone, for such kind words. I'm completely flattered, and I think I have huge shoes to, to fill up, because
I think we have had a small problem here, Prem. She has gone offline.
So probably, sir, there is some internet issue, and
Yeah,
ma'am will be back as soon as the internet stables.
Okay.
due to some reason. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, ma'am. Please continue.
So thank you so much for having me in this delightful discussion. I think it's a huge pleasure for me to speak about something which was very new to me when I started my page. So Parma has been my dream venture, and something which I wanted to do for all my life. And after my class 12 examinations, when I told my father that, it's not law that I want to pursue, but I wanted to do something with arts, he told me that it is not possible because arts don't fill up your pockets, but law would ultimately. And being a fourth generation lawyer in the family, where people have only done law all their lives, it was not possible for me to pursue something which is completely different from the so-called legal background. And then, of course, I joined the bandwagon and I did my law. And then it was a 10 years of legal career which I gave up for this, because I always feel that if your dreams don't keep you awake all night, then they are not those dreams are not good enough. So yes, that is how Porma was born. And initially I was doing law alongside this. And after 2 years, when our business grew manifold, then obviously I had to quit law and do this full time. Now we are on our 6th year. Initially I was a one-man team with one tailor who would create those stories on digital, how digital this whole space has helped me to grow my business. I want to speak about that. So initially it was just a Facebook page with 100 likes on that page, which was huge for me. On the first day I got 100 likes on that page, and I really felt like, I've achieved something. Obviously I was very new, and as I have told it in many interviews also before, and also to people who know me till date, I have almost about 70,000 followers on Instagram and about 51,000 on Facebook. I have never sponsored a single post in these entire 6 years. My Instagram page is only 3-year-old, because before that I didn't even know how Instagram works. And Facebook is of course a 6-year-old page where I have not sponsored a single post till date. Page likes, page getting followers, nothing. Even then, organically this business has grown. I think my main tool, which you may say the main factor which made my business grow, is obviously a very strong storytelling. I call my venture Stories on Fabric because of a particular reason. The reason being, these, I think stories are the only thing that survives the test of time, the people's attention over ages. Stories are the only thing that stays. I mean, the kind of stories that we tell for generations after generation, that is something that stays with people, and people love stories. That is why I wanted to tell those stories. Everyone has their own medium. For me it was fabric, because I think that was one of the best ways to communicate to people. So that is how it all started. And that is why I called it Stories on Fabric. And what kind of stories, whenever people ask me what kind of stories do you tell, I think I speak about the mundane stories, the most ordinary stories. And those are the stories I think stay. If we look at our childhood, the kind of stories that we read when we were very young, be it Thakumar Jhuli, be it Sukumar Rai, be it Rabindranath Tagore, you would see that generation after generation, people are reading it. My parents have read it. I am sure my next generations will read it. The simplicity of the stories, say a Tuntunir Boy or a Pagla Dashu, or Rabindranath Tagore's Kirer Putul, Rajkahini. These are the stories that have been going on, and generations after generations, we are getting mesmerized by those stories. Like poems like Haradhane Doshti Chele, I think for generations we are, even my niece, who's just a 2-year-old, she's also, learning Haradhane Doshti Chele. So these are the stories, the mundane stories, poems, those stories of childhood. These are the things that stay. I mean, everything else goes away, but I think that's the most important tool through which people remember you, the work that you do. the reason why we remember Abanindranath Tagore is because he painted stories. With his words, he actually painted stories. So like being born and brought up in a very middle class household, obviously our only source of entertainment were books. We were not allowed to watch TV, and obviously we did not have telephones, mobile phones, video games, nothing. So for us, the only source of entertainment were books. I think that was one of the reason why, you know, my entire bend of mind went to a powerful storytelling. Now how that is of course how we grew up. Now obviously, due to the whole change in digital media, digital marketing, the entire scenario has changed. So but for me, the basic storytelling has never changed. The underlying theme of all my work is a very strong narrative, and that kind of strong narrative has to be there. Like if you're selling something, I was telling someone that, you know, when we were young, one day in a year, my parents sent me to a...
Paroma, can I just interrupt you, as I said, because our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Shrikant Mitra, has just joined in.
Absolutely.
So I would like to welcome him to the show, and I would in fact request him to say a few words, because Paroma has just started. She has a long way to go, sir. Would you kindly say something to encourage the panel as well as the participants?
Okay. Thank you, Professor Mukherjee.
Thank you,
so
sir.
as usual, for the last 2 days, we have been organizing this program for the benefit of our students, and I'm very happy to see Paroma is presenting her cases of success in using digital media and internet. And I think this will be immense help for all of our students, because this is the thing which we want. I am repeatedly telling all these things to inspire our students to so that they can become more self-reliant. They can become more self-reliant in terms of their economic strength, the financial strength. So my advice to all the students is kindly listen to Paroma carefully and try to take important cues and important, the information, or this inspiration from her stories, and try to showcase your activities in such a way that in near future we will be able to call you from some of you, at least from you, to present your cases like Paroma in front of us in near future. So with this, my best wishes to all the participants for their future career, for their future life, and my sincerest thanks goes to Paroma.
Thank you, sir.
Mukherjee, kindly continue with and have a this lively these interactions and engagement with Paroma, so that the students can get benefit out of it. Thank you. I am inside my office, so I have to continue some more discussion here. Then afterwards, if I get some more time, I will definitely join, because I have personal curiosity to learn all these things even at this age also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, we do understand that you have got a lot of things to attend to, and it's really very, we are privileged to have you so much between us also. Thank you, sir. Kindly, come back as and when you find the time to do so. With these words, we will continue, and Paroma, you can resume your discussion. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you everyone. So as I was saying that how stories became a very important tool for me to talk about my venture, about the work that I do. And like I said, that stories are something which are eternal. One might get bored of eating biryani every day, but one never gets bored of eating dal bhat every day. So stories are every day. I was telling while a few minutes back, I was discussing with a friend, and I was telling, how our most ordinary lives, just because we are telling stories, it does not need to be extraordinary stories about extravagant things. It may not have to be something which is very flowery, very flamboyant, but it can be, the story of anything that you see all around you. And being born and brought up in Calcutta is a boon, I would say, because Calcutta, if you see as a city, I have traveled all over India, but I have never left Calcutta as home. So Calcutta is home for me. I'm born and brought up here, and in this 37 years of my life, I have never left the city to live somewhere else. So for me, this is home. And why I think this place is unique is because Calcutta celebrates the normal middle class ordinary living. For us, if Delhi is about the kind of cars that you own, Bombay is about the place that you own your house at, Calcutta would be about the kind of books that you read, the movies that you see, what kind of books that you read, how many books have you completed in a year. So it is more like, and also about the, like I said, the ordinary living, which is, you know, very important. You will never, the very rich or the very poor, there is a huge line in between. And because my brand is an everyday brand, I celebrate that, you know, the middle class. For me, more than extravagant, what resonates with me is the normal, ordinary, common man. I always say that my brand is not an extravagant brand. It is for the common men and common women. It is something why mom said that she relates to my stories, is because if you talk about extravagant, there would be people who might not relate. If I talk about in my clothes, if I talk about very extravagant things, or you know, something which is out of reach for most people, people will not relate to that story. But if I say an ordinary story from Doordarshan, or when we were young, what we watched on DD National, if I talk about such a story, I think a lot of people of our generation will instantly connect, because whether you're rich, poor, ordinary, DD1 was the only channel when we were young, so people would always relate to a Bomkesh Bokshi, or you know, the kind of things that we watched when we were young, the kind of books, like I said, that when we were young we read. And nostalgia is a part of my storytelling. I don't think everything from the past needs to be discarded and we should move on, no matter how much, you know, the digital is a tool. But your storytelling has to be deep rooted. Unless and until you have a very deep rooted story to tell, I mean, this happens, you know, nobody remembers. Just like some of the songs that we hear every day on radio from the new movies, we don't remember them. But if you ask me a song from Pyasa or Guide, I will instantly tell you the entire lyrics of that song, because it might be of my parents' generation, but it has touched such a chord in my heart, which I will remember for years to come. If you see the music of our present day films, you will see that most of 90% are remixes of old songs, because like I said, that strong holding, those were very deep rooted. The melody was deep rooted. Now, I'm not saying that everything new is bad, everything new we should discard, but what I mean to say is every story that you tell, every music that you make, every cloth that you make must have something deep rooted, something deep. So when I started my brand, like I said, it was an online, my entire presence was online. I started with a Facebook page. And at that time, obviously, I did not have that finance to have a shop. Now I thank my stars that, you know, I did not set up a huge shop, because post COVID everything will become even more online, everything will go even more digital. I mean, in the past 1 year there's a digital boom, because everything you want you can get online. When we were young, when we were school, we would go to a shoe shop, say a Bata, and we would get those ballerina shoes which our parents would buy for our new session. Only once in a year we would get that shoe. For that, we could touch, feel. If you are buying a cloth, we could touch and feel. That thing, due to digital marketing, digital media, has almost lost its relevance. I won't say it is 100% lost. There is still a 70-30 of it, but you know, now we can order everything online. So how would you make your customer or your client understand how good is your product, what it is made of, what stories you want to convey? That is why stories are so important, according to me. If your storytelling is very strong, if you convey to your potential clients, potential customers, what your garments are made of, what kind of stories are involved in those garments, people don't need to touch and feel. Even on online, you will have the same response, perhaps even more, because then people are reading the backstory, why you made it, what inspired you. Those things people want to read. Like I said, stories are the only thing that never go out of fashion. So I'll just give you a small example. So recently I had done a Pagladashu on a on children's clothes. So Pagladashu by Shukumar Rai, and a lot of people said that, you know, who will buy it? I mean, how many children today reads a Shukumar Rai? You won't believe the number of garments that I sold in this kind of a Shukumar Rai. Was when I was in class 1, I used to have Pagladashu as a text in our syllabus. Now I don't know whether young children who go to English medium schools at all read Pagladashu now, but I also feel the parents who are buying it, they want to have that story, that nostalgia intact in their minds by seeing their children wear something like this. So this is how you relate to not only one generation, but you actually touch lives of more than one generation, where you know, the young people who may not have read Pagladashu might not relate to this garment, but their parents will. And in the process, when a child is wearing this, he would ask his mother, what is Pagladashu about? Tell me about Shukumar Rai. He might have, maybe he would read a translation of Shukumar Rai, but he would still read. And that is how our whole legacy of how what we read for generations will continue. They will get intrigued. I mean, alongside Tintin, alongside Asterix, they would also know who Shukumar Rai was. They will also read Sahaj Path. They would also read Tuntunir Boy and Khirer Putul. So this, for me, you know, while digital is the in thing, while it is the only way to maybe, you know, to build your business, at the same time, I always feel just like any tree, no matter how much you branch out, your roots should be as deep as your branches. Otherwise, I mean, people won't be able to relate. And for me, telling these stories were never about, you know, selling stuff on Instagram, selling stuff on Facebook. I started with the mere love of doing it, because being a lawyer and being in a full-fledged law career for 10 years, I have seen money. Money was not on my cards. I have seen what money is, how to deal with money, how to earn fat checks. I've seen that part of the world too. For me, it was more about connecting. In law, I think I failed to connect with what was happening around me. This was the best way I could connect to my people, connect to my art, connect to the age-old traditions. If you see, if I talk about my work, the Kantha and Batik work that I don't do modern motifs. I do typical Alpona motifs of West Bengal. My point is, one should look at it and ask that why Alpona? How did it come to Bengal? How did Rabindranath popularize it? Unless and until you ask questions about what you see, people will not remember. So my things are very traditional. I have never broken down a batik or a katha and made very quirky motifs out of it. I have stuck to the typical Shantiniketan style of work, because I want that to stay. I mean, there should, when I have a voice, when people are listening to me, when people are ready to buy what I'm selling on the internet, I should also have the responsibility of saving our craft, of saving our weaves, of the kind of designs that I make. I stick to Jamdani fabric because that is our age-old fabric. That is what we have been doing it. I use Dhone Khali. I use 100-years-old revival fabrics like Shantipuri, Dhone Khali. I do kathas on Dhone Khali, because these are the fabrics which West Bengal was once, I mean, West Bengal has these kind of very rich textiles, very rich heritage. So I would, can you hear, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, you know, this is a very important, it's a very important tool, not only because people are listening to you, it is also your responsibility to promote what you can, something which is maybe going out of fashion, something which is maybe going out of weave, something which artisans are not being able to promote themselves. So if you have 100 followers on Facebook, or if you have 50,000 followers who are listening to you, it is your duty to make those people understand the value of those fabric, how to revive them, how to use those age-old Jamdani fabric and turn them into something new. Like I have seen, because Jamdani is one of those fabric which we have been using for years. Our grandmothers, our mothers, our great-grandmothers have been wearing, and I am from East Bengal. My family is from East Bengal. So Jamdani is something that, you know, we have seen in our cupboards for generations after generations. Now, how would you influence people to buy that? Some people might find it very traditional. Why should I buy a 100-year-old textile? Now, what I have done is, using Jamdani technique, instead of those old patterns, I have done, say, a watermelon or a cactus, or you know, polka dots, which are very modern, and yet you know, the youngsters will buy. So this is where, as a designer, I have used my design intervention in making what has been ordinary for years, but transforming them into very wearable art. I call my garments wearable art, because there is art to it and they are wearable, and they are also conversation starters. If you do a watermelon motif, or say a cat motif or an elephant motif on Jamdani, then the moment you're wearing it, people will ask you. A youngster, say a 25-year-old, who may not be interested in Jamdani at all, the kind of patterns which our Ma, Thakuma and Didimas wore, they might not be interested in, but they would always be interested if you put, say, a camera or a taxi or a tram, you know, woven in that fabric. They will be interested. So this is how, as a designer, I feel when I have a voice, when I have a certain number of followers on Instagram and Facebook and on digital media, it is my responsibility to also revive, to bring forth what has been there for years, but also use my own techniques, my own sensibilities, my aesthetics, and bring them to the world at large, to youngsters, encourage them to wear our traditional age-old fabric and textiles. About the design part, which I do on my blouses and saris, they are more modern in terms of quirkiness, but their stories, like I told, are age-old. Like I do not, because I'm a very nostalgia-induced person, my things are, you know, about our childhood, about how we grew up. I somehow want to retain my childhood through my work. So the kind of movies that I have watched. So I'll give you a small example. Say this blouse, when we introduced, we call this the Kaberi Boshu blouse. So the moment I started selling them as a Kaberi Boshu blouse, there were several queries. So why I said my garments are conversation starters is because people will ask me. Firstly, people will ask, who is Kaberi Boshu? Why have you named a blouse Kaberi Boshu? So people who know Kaberi Boshu would know why who is Kaberi Boshu, but then they will ask, why is the blouse named after her? So there comes the storytelling. So this pattern is inspired from Kaberi Basu's sari on Orne Dinratri, the memory game scene of Orne Dinratri, which is like one of my most favorite scenes from any Bengali movie. And Orne Dinratri happens to be my favorite Satyajit Ray movie. And so I did
Hello?
Paroma,
Your
we
voice
cannot
is not
hear you.
audible, ma'am.
Paroma, we cannot hear you. Something has gone wrong with the audio.
Parma, ma'am, your voice is not audible, ma'am. Hello?
She can't hear. She can't hear us.
that
Let's come back now.
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
continue. For a moment, you are inaudible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Sarojit.
I wanted to do this pattern. Why? Because in that memory game scene, Kaberi Boshu had worn a white sari with this kind of a black border, and I don't know why. Like I told that I don't know where inspiration comes from, but one day I was watching Orne Dinratri and I just knew that, oh my god, I have to recreate this sari on something, either on a sari or a blouse, but I'm going to recreate that pattern. We embroidered that pattern and we named the blouse Kaberi Boshu blouse after Orne Dinratri's memory game scene. So there would be many such references, like our Devi blouse, which obviously became viral, and then so many people started started copying it, and this is perhaps our most copied blouse, but I can always take credit that we were the first one to recreate the Devi poster on a blouse. And this also because of Sharmila Tagore's such a powerful image on the poster of Devi, which was obviously designed by Satyajit Ray. And obviously my work is extremely inspired from Ray, because that is how we grew up. We used to watch his movies multiple times. We were not really allowed to watch any other director's movie when we were young. So maybe we have watched Sonar Killa 50 times, and Jai Baba Phirunath 40 times, because as youngsters we were not allowed to watch movies as such. And so whatever I saw and I grew up, and you won't believe that when I say that Devi is our most copied design, which also makes me very proud in saying that imagine the number of people who might not have watched Devi at all, because Devi is not one of those popular movies of Satyajit Ray, but so many people have bought it just for the mere joy of seeing the visual, the strong storytelling, the whole font, the Devi, which I cannot take credit, it's all Mr. Ray's credit. But then the whole people became intrigued that what is it all about, and at least 50 people messaged me that we actually watched Aranya Dinrati and Devi after we bought your blouse, because we really wanted to know that what is about these movies that have inspired you. And there have been non-Bengali friends and clients who have told me that I just want to learn Bengali after seeing your clothes, because I feel some of the finer details, some of the finer humor I don't get because I'm not a Bengali. So I think that's a huge compliment. And this has nothing to do with the kind of money that you make or the kind of business that you keep flourishing. It's all about, you touch lives, which is more important. I mean, if someone has told that I've never been to Calcutta, because Calcutta is not a travel destination as such, but after seeing your Howrah Bridge blouse, I really want to visit Calcutta. So when I started, a lot of people said that your clothes are so Calcutta oriented, so Bengal oriented, so Bengali, so-called Bengali. How would you manage a business? How would you sell them to people who are not from Bengal, not from Calcutta, have we have never been to New York, for example, but there would be in Newmarket, you will get a lot of t-shirts which say I love NYC, which we wear t-shirts from Thailand which says I love Bangkok. So we do that. I mean, I'm not from Bangkok. I might have traveled to Bangkok once or twice in my life, but I still have the t-shirt and I wear a very happy tuk on a t-shirt. Then why would not people wear something about Calcutta on what they have worn on t-shirts? Why not on a blouse? It's just the pattern changes. On t-shirt it's on the front, on blouse it goes on the back. And you won't believe how, I mean, for the first 1.5 years I hardly had clients from Calcutta. I had clients from all over the world, and they said that I have never been to Calcutta, but you want me to travel to Calcutta. I want to travel Calcutta just to see what intrigues you. I mean, you make Calcutta look like Madhuri Dixit. One of my clients had said, you make Calcutta sound and look like Madhuri Dixit as if she's irresistible. And if I don't meet her once, life is through my work. And I think that is how powerful storytelling can be. And I can very proudly say 2 or 3 of them actually made trips to Calcutta and I showed them around. So this is beyond the clothes that I make, beyond the kind of work that I do. It's much beyond all of that. It's all about human connection. So no matter how digital we grow, we cannot lose that human connection. Your stories can never be made up. Your stories can never be artificial. One has to connect to you. One has to connect. You have to connect to someone through your stories. Like I said, someone might not have watched Devi or Aranya Dinratri, but your honest storytelling will connect you to them, and they would come back to you and say that I watched this movie just to see what inspired you. And that's a huge compliment for any designer, for any storyteller. And there would be, very basic, like I said, when I started, I started embroidering flowers on clothes. And by flowers, people have always seen a rose or a jasmine or a daisy or a very fancy flower or on clothes. What I did was I changed the entire storytelling. I started embroidering polash phool, oporajita, hibiscus, and all those mundane flowers, shuli, all those mundane flowers that we see along the road, on the pavement, on terraces. Before me, I can very proudly claim that I have never seen an oporajita or a shuli phool embroidered, which is the parijat, embroidered on a sari or a blouse. Later, of course, it became a rage, and now you can see every kind of designers making those flowers. But I can obviously proudly claim that those babies were mine first, and then I set it out to the world. And there were lots of people who had not even seen polash flowers. Someone from Bangalore told me, "Are they flames of the forest?" My God, every time I look at the flower, I think of you, because I had never noticed those flowers, because before you embroidered, I always used to see them on the pavement, on the road, and I could never think that someone can actually embroider such mundane flowers on clothes. Like Oporajita is such a terrace flower, which we never saw on clothes. So when I did it 6 years back, there were people who came and told me that, my God, we never even thought that something which we see every day during our daily pujo at home, that can make it to a garment. So, like I said, you have, in order to become present in the digital land, so-called digital world, your storytelling has to be different. You have to talk about things which people have not talked about or have talked about, but your narrative has to be different. Your conviction has to be very, very strong. You have to know what you're talking about. And there will be things which won't sell, so called. This is also part of influencing people to stick to their roots, stick to the nostalgia, stick to the love for the city, stick to their age old traditions. All traditions are not bad, all rituals are not bad. So to stick to those, like I tell you, this particular blouse has a calendar embroidered on it. So this we launched for our Poila Boishak collection. This has an old the Bengali calendar embroidered, and it has a mishtir baksho, the sweet box. So these are the kind of tradition which today's children might not notice, but when we were young, we would always want to have that rasna and that one box filled with kochuri and mishti. And when we were young, every Poila Boishak, on the first day of Boishak, which is the we would go with our parents or grandparents to the jewelry shops or to any college street shops, book-shops, and Baba would, we would go there. We will be invited for the halkhata. So this is our halkhata blouse. This we will get that calendar and one small sweet box with a very, very cold kochuri and shandesh would just make our day. We would gulp that in. We would later have acidity, but we would always cherish that box and that calendar. So these little things, if you ask someone suddenly ki what Bengali year is this, so half of the people would not know that. Nowadays, if you ask any Bengali child ki which Bengali year is this one, they would say this is 2021, but how many people will say that this is 1427 in the Bengali calendar? So these are the things, everything that is traditional, everything that is old is not bad. I mean, why not sometimes stick to our roots? I mean, that is what makes us so unique. My storytelling is. And like I said, even though there's a strong Bengali influence in the kind of things that I make, that like something as simple as a mother-daughter conversation, there's a Bengali thing written on it, Ma me kotha. This is also one of our very popular designs. Now, a lot of people will ask that a person who's not from Bengal, how will that person read it? Ma me kotha is written in Bengali. A Devi is written in Bengali. How many people would read it? But I mean, 90% of my clients who have bought this are not Bengalis, and they say that we relate to the story that a mother and a daughter are sitting with a cup, drinking tea and chatting with each other. So this also came as an inspiration, because after I got married, I realized what a mom is. I mean, it took me years to understand that, I mean, that's the only thing in this world that is not replaceable. That is a mother. And that is how I bought this story on fabric. And it might be as simple as your conversation with your closest person on earth, which is your mother. And you might think that who will want to buy a cloth which has a ma and a daughter, and Ma Mein Kotha, which is also written in Bengali, and half of the people will not be able to read it also. But then, like I said, if they relate to the honesty in your storytelling, if they relate to the nostalgia, if they relate to the relevance, because anyone from any part of the world would relate to a mother-daughter conversation. A person who's wearing this, someone who's lost a mother, someone who was not very close to the mother, someone who's very close to the mother like I am, they will all relate to they will somewhere relate to someone who's a new mother, would relate. So all kinds of people. It is not like so every story that I tell on fabrics has this kind of very niche, very Bengali. Though initial parts were very Bengali, all my storytelling were only about Calcutta, but later I have had stories from each part of India. So Delhi would have a skyline sari, Bombay would have chai, cutting chai, Bombay would have the palat. I had a palat blouse which was inspired from Shah Rukh Khan's DDLJ scene. So there are lots of things, fun, quirky. Some of the designs are very, very close to my heart. They of course didn't sell. So it's not about that, I'm only talking about the good things or the things that sell, but there are of course many things that don't sell. I mentally give myself Oscar after the design is born, and I think, oh my god, I mean, I'm so proud of myself, what design I have cracked. And I think this is the one design that is going to take me to heaven. And maybe I sell 3 pieces of that design in the entire year, and I realize that what you love yourself might not sell at all. And there might be designs which might not be that close to my heart, but I might have sold 500 pieces in that design. So you never know what really works. But then overall, what I have felt is the honesty of your storytelling, a very, very strong storytelling, works wonders. And people, no matter where they are from, I'll show you another blouse. This blouse is called Bajlo Tomar Alor Benu. This is our Mohalaya blouse, which we launched one Pujo. This also has a Bengali thing written in it, Bajlo Tomar Alor Benu. Now, a lot of people would relate to a radio, but they will not relate to the song. They would not know what a dhunuchi is. This is a dhunuchi, this is a poddo phul. This also has shiuli, and this has a transistor. Now, people will ask that what is this transistor about? Why does it have poddo phul and shiuli? Why does it have dhunuchi? Why does it have Bajlo Tomar Alor Benu? What is Bajlo Tomar Alor Benu? So this is what I want my clothes to be. You ask 10 questions once you see. If I make a normal sari, a normal blouse, it can never be a conversation starter. In digital world, I mean, unless and until there is a story, if you don't intrigue people with your products, people will not buy it. So there will be 20 questions like, why is it this? Why have you used this song? So I would explain to them that this is something which we grew up. This is the only thing that will make me wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. That's the only thing. I have never woken up to sunrises, but I've always woken up to Birendra Krishna Bhadra's voice and Devi Sarvabhutesh, and that whole Mohishashur Mordini on radio. And like I said, people who have never listened to Mohalaya in their entire life, Mohishashur Mordini ever in their lives, people from southern part of India, people from northern part of India has bought this blouse because they have that nostalgic feeling towards the radio, because they know what a transistor used to be all about when there were no TV. They know that, how powerfully one transistor could bring close so many family members in this age of nuclear families. They understood how one transistor could bring, or one new TV could bring 20 people all in the para who did not have a transistor or a TV would come flocking in that household and would watch a Sholay together or watch or hear a Mohalaya together. So these are the things, like I said, everything of the past is not, it's not that, I want to encash past and sell it in new packages to make a fruitful business. It's never about that. I've been very honest about it. It was never on my cards to be a huge successful business woman and make lots of money. But I also think that I was very honest in my intentions. I was very honest in my storytelling. I knew what I was talking about. I knew that everything of the past cannot be discarded, and we should, when people are listening to me, like I said, if I have 50,000 followers on Facebook who are ready to listen to me, then it becomes my responsibility to also push things which are not selling that well for years. So before, like I said, I have never seen a garment which has a Mohalaya theme in it. I have never seen a garment that has a real Bengali calendar, because this was our last year's launch, and this calendar is actually 1427 of the Bengali year, and the calendar written on, calendar embroidered on it. We have an entire sari which has the pallu of the sari has the entire Kumotuli map embroidered, entire Kumotuli map. And because I had geography in my class 11-12, I know how to draw those topo sheets and all that. It was a real Kumotuli map with names of the streets, name of the artists, and the entire sari had Durga Thakur being made. So the theme of it was that, people go crazy during those 3 months before Pujo, go there with cameras, DSLR, and, click 1,000 pictures of goddesses being made. And I also feel personally, those 3 months are more exciting than the entire Durga Pujo 5 days. Those 3 months are what we live for. Those butterflies in the stomach, Pujo kokhon ashbe, Pujo, and all that. So, but how many people know the names of the artists who make it? Like, how many people have, Mohan Bashi Rudropal we know because he's the most famous. But how many people know about the smaller ones who make those idols? When you are photographing them, do you even ask the name of the artisans? Do you celebrate them? And those artisans, poor things, they don't even know sometimes where the idols have actually gone. So their fun is actually those 3 months, because for the 5 days, if you go to Kumotuli, there is the silence of a church, the silence of a cemetery there. There is nothing. Those 3 months of drum rolls and then 5 days of nothing there. I've always thought about these things, and I just wanted to celebrate all the artists, all the road names. Till the Ganga, I have, actually documented the entire Kumotuli Potuapara on a sari. It has all the road names, all the artist names, small artist names, women artists like China Pal. Even her name is there on that pallu of the sari. And I kept the Durga making, the idol making incomplete in that sari. It's in making, because in making, that process is more important than being made. And there also I have taken references from Joy Baba Felunath, Shoshi Babu, creating that idol in Joy Baba Felunath. And I have written about that story. I've written about that, no one asked where Shoshi Babu, how did the idol finish after Shoshi Babu was killed. And that was such a sad part of the story. And perhaps in that entire drama of, the detective finding out who did it, in that extravagance of Moganlal Meghraj and Feluda, we forgot that Shoshi Babu was killed in that movie. And we know that while Feluda was asking that Poshu to Shoshti, apnar kaaj shesh hobe Poshur moddhe. So that whole dialogue, I was when Shoshi Babu died in that movie, I was constantly thinking that the idol is still incomplete. But at the end of the movie, they show that in the full extravagance, the Durga Puja is happening. So for me, that left a huge, huge mark. And I kept all the idols on my sari incomplete because of that. And we have named a blouse after, we call that blouse Thakur Gora by Shoshi Babu. they will always relate to the art of it. They would always see those Kumotuli pictures and they will be intrigued. So I have sold those saris to people who are not from Bengal also. They say, ki, I mean, we have seen on Nat Geo what whole para you have, a whole neighborhood where people are making idols. I mean, we don't have that in Delhi or Bombay. I mean, we want to go to Calcutta and see that. So this is how you connect to people. And because of digital world, it is so much easier to connect to people, so much easier to tell them what it is all about. I mean, if I'm selling that sari in a particular store, only 5 people might see it and might not even come to the store and ask you what it is all about. They will not understand. But when you put it out in the digital world, there are so many questions. There are so many people who would ask you. There were so many people who would want to visit your city just for that one sari or a blouse, because they like mom also said, I might not be a consumer of her products, but I'm a consumer of her stories. So this is how powerful the digital world is. If it was a standalone store, people might not have asked you so many questions. So this is how I incorporate storytelling in my business. And because it's a digital world, I can reach out to a lot more people and tell what I want to. And because of everything can be Googleable, so to say, people actually read up, people actually find out who Birendra Krishna Bhadra is, which otherwise I wouldn't have been able to connect. Now I can proudly say that my non-Bengali clients also know what Bajratomar Alur Benu is, because when they buy that blouse, I also send them the link to that song. So that is how powerful digital world is. I think you can interrupt me. I am going on and on with a monologue.
I think, Paroma, you can actually go on and on for some more time, because it has been a very fascinating presentation that you have made. At least for my, I can speak on my personal behalf. I was listening to every word that you have said and how much I could connect with whatever you said. So much of love for Calcutta, so much of love for everything Bengalis, so much of love for everything that is mundane and so-called ordinary.
Before the session started, Professor Shujit was telling me that, Mom, you have to take, more initiative, because I absolutely don't understand fashion and sari and blouse. But I think now you are able to connect more, sir. Wouldn't you agree?
Fantastic. I mean, you have made an amazing presentation. I haven't heard a more amazing presentation, which is so Bengali and presented in English. I must admit that. And congratulations to you, Paroma. You have made a fascinating presentation, absolutely fascinating. And in a way, I share a lot of things that you said. I am also a fiercely Bengali person, fiercely proud of Bengal and my Bengali roots and my middle class roots. And I also celebrate whatever you said. I was wanting to ask you, haven't you made a Charulata blouse? Because if you have made
I have, the studio that I'm sitting. This is my workspace.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking for, when I was looking for a space for my work station, I made sure that the windows are shuttered French windows like Charulata used to have. So
Fantastic.
in everything that I do, there is some Satyajit Ray influence. And
like you said, I am also great fan of Satyajit Ray and his works, and I too feel that Orunne Dinratri was perhaps the best film Ray has made, according to me, and Charulata, of course, is a very close one, I think. I think you will find a lot of resonance among the generation that I belong to, because we have grown up, seeing these things and observing these things. How much of the present generation?
Limited resources, sir. I feel
yes, absolutely.
Sometimes limited resources are best. I mean, you gather a lot of things if you have limited resources.
And you are so sensitive to your surroundings in that case. When you have so much of so much of inputs from all around, you lose your sensibilities, I think. So we really could concentrate on a few things, and we have taken so much out of them, really. Fantastic, wonderful.
You observe more when you have limited resources. And
That is right.
for us, a basic bus ride or a tram ride would mean a world to us, because we will notice everything that is around instead of looking on our mobile screens, maybe because we observed so many things. I would remember the names of each and every bus stop at that time. Now I don't remember the last time I have traveled in a bus. I mean, I don't want to sound snooty, or I don't want to sound that I've made so much money that I don't travel in a bus anymore. But what I mean to say is, the way we used to travel only by bus was a huge boon, because I knew every stoppage, the name of every stoppage which was there, and how during Pujo suddenly New Alipur turned into Shuruchi Shango, and how the bus conductor would say Shuruchi Shango instead of New Alipur, and Badam Tola instead of Rajbihari. So these are the things, minute things of life which I really miss in the present situation. I'm sure nowadays the new generation miss a lot of those things, because they don't have that kind of a simple life which we had.
Absolutely great. You have brought out the best in Bengal. You've talked about Satyajit Ray, you've talked about Shukumar Rai.
Sir, I think everyone talks about, I think everyone made a lot of things about Rabindranath Tagore, who of course Rabindranath Tagore has always been my you can say God in the true sense, because he has from learning his songs till childhood to reading his text in school syllabus to everything that I have been born and brought up with is Rabindranath Tagore. But so far as my work is concerned, I think because he's so overused, I want to give him some rest. I don't bring him at every drop of the hat. I don't bring Rabindranath Tagore in my work. That is how
I am afraid we are missing out someone. Our Vice Chancellor, sir, is also fiercely Bengali, and had he been present throughout the presentation, he would have certainly connected with you so well, and he would have brought many issues to the fore, and he would have asked you several questions. I'm certain about that. Unfortunately, work keeps him busy, and he is not here right now. But then I would request others to, ask questions or maybe make observations to Paurama. She has made a fascinating presentation. I have many things to tell to her, but then we have got others to hear also. Indranil, would you like to say something or ask something? Indranil too is a very busy person, so I won't know how much he has been able to listen to the presentation. Shall we take a few questions from the participants? Can we do that? Let's have a look at what questions have come.
I am not being able to see the questions.
Okay,
so
fine. I will tell you, but then some of the questions are pretty simple, straightforward. Somebody's asking, Shorab Kundu is asking, ma'am, what kind of business do you do? Can you answer that?
So like I said, I'm in the clothing business, and I do absolute Indian ethnic wear for men, women, and children. And even the dhotis that we make for men are not ready-made. If a woman takes so much pain in wearing a sari, a man who's buying a dhoti from us should also take the pain of draping it, should know how to drape it. We don't make elastic dhotis. So my thing is, if a woman can, drape a sari, know how to drape a sari, a man should also know how to drape a dhoti. So none of our products are easy or ready-made. For men also, they have to buy and tie the dhoti.
Okay, interesting. We have a question from somebody who's anonymous. Ma'am, I am inspired with your storytelling, story collection idea. Can you suggest me how to microblog for increased viewership for craft seller?
See, like I said, for me, because it's not for me, it has always been, I have not really used the paid resources on Facebook or Instagram or on digital marketing, which helps me to increase my business. For me, it has been an organic growth. So what I would say is be very active with what you are doing, because the market is extremely competitive. No matter what your product is, you have to be visible. So visibility is a very important thing. How often you post, how often you connect to your clients, that is very important. And how you engage with your clients. You have to be prompt with your responses. You have to reach more people. You have to be very active. If you are selling on social media, you have to be very, very active. For me, I have a team, of course, who handle the queries, the business, and that part of it, because a person cannot do everything on her own. If I'm looking at the creative side, someone has to look at the business side of it. Now we have a team, a larger team, to look after that, but that's how it is done. I mean, you have to be very, very active on the digital platform where you're selling. Even if it's on WhatsApp, if you're selling your things on WhatsApp, even then you have to connect your client very frequently and be visible. That's all.
Okay. I was wanting to ask you, Paroma, that's not a question on the chat box, but then it's my question.
Yes, yes.
Sounds to me that you are somebody who is promoting the Bengali culture big time, and you are doing a tremendous job, I think. Have you ever wondered how you could, team up with the Bengal tourism? Because Bengal is, has not been promoted for the tourism, really. It has hardly been done. And I think what you do, your kind of work is going to bring in a lot of tourists to Bengal from the different parts of the country, I think, if not from abroad. So have you ever tried doing this?
Sir, honestly, I always want, I am a very avid traveler also, and I feel a person can only tell stories if he or she has read books or he has actually traveled to places. These are the only two ways. I mean, I have read stories of Vibhuti Bhushan where he never went. When he wrote Chader Pahar, I thought he had actually gone there and seen
Absolutely.
it, only to realize later that he had never traveled there. So that is the power of imagination, of reading, of actual travels. So for me, traveling is a huge part of my storytelling. And as I said, though I have started my storytelling on stories of Calcutta, I have also now started telling stories of all over India, and that has only happened because of extensive travel throughout India. And I would really want to collaborate with people who travel, because that brings a very niche audience, and also people who would relate to a particular place through their travels. And since my embroidered stories are very much related to places have a very important thing to say. Because of COVID and all, obviously a lot of plans are at stake. Now I don't even know whether how much I can do that kind of a storytelling, but yes, it is on my cards to do something with traveling.
Like, I would like to ask you, have you thought of doing something, let's say if you're talking about Maharashtra, have you thought of doing something, revolving around the pav bhaji? Because that's a very common thing for a Mumbaikar, a middle class Mumbaikar. Or let's say, have you done something on Ganpati?
We have done for Maharashtra, we have a theme which is the cutting chai, the vada pav,
Okay.
and the Maharashtrian
Vada pav,
nuts
yeah.
from the other nuts of India. So we have done such themed things. So for me, sir, obviously promoting tourism, like I said, there are many people who actually told me and have actually come to Calcutta after going through my page, and they have said that I might not have bought a single blouse or a sari from you, but I just wanted to travel to Calcutta just to see that how can some city be so beautiful. So these are the things. So in a way, we can't, actually promote travel through our work. But
yes,
post-COVID, sir, I don't even know how much a lot of traveling has been affected by COVID. So in near future, I would definitely want to do a collaboration with a travel company or someone like that, where we can also promote travel through our work.
Tempted to ask you, have you thought of doing something on Pather Panchali?
Sir, I have actually, the thing is that I try to keep the most used, the most iconic things which has been already used, sometimes overused on fabric in storytelling or on media. I try not to work around that, so that so like I said, a Devi or a Aranya Din Ratri, when I did, there were many Bengalis who had not watched Aranya Din Ratri or a Devi, because those were not so-called Pathar Panchali or Joy Baba Khelunad. So there would be people who had not. So I always, for me, films which are less seen, books which are less read, songs which are less heard, they intrigue me more than
I think I must say that it's the cultural topping that is dominating. The ethnicity, the culture that goes into making products and designing products. Uh, that is at the heart of everything, and I think that's such a wonderful platform for creating your niche markets. And I think you have done that very successfully. So kudos to you for doing that, and hope you keep on doing many more things like that. And you would tell us your stories more and more often, maybe. So that is a wonderful thing you have done. Let's take a few more questions. Can we see if somebody would want to come on the show, come on screen and ask a question? Prem, can you let people enter and let them ask questions?
Yes, sir. So we have Sakyaditya Ghosh.
Okay. Shakoditya Ghosh, can you please unmute yourself and please ask your question? Shakoditya, can you hear me? Bring in the next person, Prem. Apparently he is not there. We have Shudeep here. Shudeep, what is your question? Please unmute yourself.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
And now I proud as a Bengali for your inspiration business idea. How to start like you? Kindly few words stays for that.
Okay. So what kind of business you want to start? Like what kind of business are you asking me about? Clothing? Or any
Clothing
kind of...
collection, handloom,
Okay.
handcrafts.
Okay. So what how can you start is, firstly, if you want to do not want to invest too much of money on a website. Of course website is the most important, the easiest tool, but then of course website is time consuming, it is money consuming. So if you do not have that kind of finance, when I started I did not have. So a Facebook page, a basic Facebook page with good pictures. I mean, pictures does not mean that you have to make a very good looking model wear your sarees. A very simple proper mobile phone picture would also do. Even at this stage of our 6 years of business, we often take mobile phone pictures and put them on our page, and trust me, they absolutely sell. It is not like you have to hire a very expensive model, use a DSLR, click pictures, nothing of that sort. To begin with, even a mobile phone picture, we all have good mobile phones nowadays. I mean, I hardly seen people using a Nokia 1100. So there are people, there will be a proper phone. You will click a good picture and put it on social media. If you want to sell through social media, WhatsApp broadcast groups are good. I do not sell through any kind of groups, but yeah, I mean, for beginners, I mean, it's fine to have a WhatsApp broadcast group where you keep posting pictures in that group and everyone on that group gets those pictures. It's way easier. And Instagram and Facebook, good pictures with good caption. I mean, also be honest, if it's a power loom made sari, right, it is a power loom made sari, particular price. If it's a handloom sari, please write it's a handloom sari and mention the price, or do not mention the price, that is up to you. But make sure that you describe your product very well on the digital platform that you try to sell. যেটা পাওয়ার লুম সেটা পাওয়ার লুমই লিখবেন, যেটা হ্যান্ডলুম সেটা হ্যান্ডলুমই লিখবেন। কখনোই পাওয়ার লুমের কোনো শাড়িকে হ্যান্ডলুম বলে বিক্রি করবেন না। Obviously that's the kind of honesty that is required, because you can sell one power loom sari saying that it's a handloom, and second time the customer will, or the client will never come to you. So be honest in what you're doing. Write a proper caption, describe the product, and have a good picture and post it on the digital media.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Paroma. We have a very interesting question from Oindrila Dash. She's saying, ma'am, are the prices of your clothing reasonable? I don't want to pay too much shipping charges, but I have a keen interest and would love to try it once. One more thing, please make some masks too with the creative touch of Bengal.
Thank you, Indra. First question is, like I said, mine is a everyday common man's brand. It is not a very expensive. Shipping is only 100 all over India, and that is, I think, is very reasonable. And for the products, I mean, we have all kinds of product prices, and obviously nothing is too exorbitant, too high, because like I said, it is firstly a common man's, and then also I want people going to offices, colleges, or even on Zoom meetings to wear our blouses, so it can't be that expensive. And now that, you know, people don't step out too often, I cannot make exorbitant clothes to be worn at home and attend Zoom meetings. So that I have to keep in mind, obviously. And because online business is the call of the day, our shipping is just 100 rupees across India. This is the first question. Second question is whether I want to make mask with Bengal theme. No. Mask, if for me, if you ask me that if I have fallen ill and I would have a crocin or a paracetamol, do I want a very fancy packaging for a paracetamol? No. I would just want that medicine and want that that thing to go. I really want COVID and this whole corona pandemic to go off, and I would never make a designer mask, because for me mask is as basic as a glove or a syringe or the paracetamol. It is just a part of living, and to be okay with how the pandemic has taken such a toll on our lives. So for me, it will always be something which scares me, with something that scares me, which has every day wearing a mask is like a trauma for me. With that, I cannot make something which I love. For me, designing and fashion is something that I love, and I will never confuse the two.
A very, very honest confession that, yeah, great, I appreciate. Okay, fine. We have a question from Madhushri. She's saying, ma'am, your way of storytelling is so much touchy to me. I'm also a painter and do fabric, but do it only free time because I am a MBA student now. It's not a question, but then she's appreciating your talk, and best wishes to you and your dreams too. Did you design any Kabuli wala mini blouse or sari, ma'am? This is my favorite film, she's saying.
Oh, how sweet. So, yes, I mean, Tapun Sinha and Rabindranath Thakur, this I think is a lethal combination. And Kabuliwala is also my favorite movie, as well as the book, the story. I would definitely keep this in mind, because this is such a nice inspiration. And of course, our chuti chuti days are when we were young. We used to watch Kabuliwala, and I that's the only film that makes me cry. Even if I've watched it 100 times, it will still make me cry. So yes, it's a beautiful theme, beautiful thing that I can explore. Yes.
Well, Mom, if you are there, would you like to ask any question? No, I don't think she's there. Okay, fine. We have Abhishek Biswas, and he has a question. Abhishek, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Parama. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, see, I want to ask, since this session is regarding online earning or digital platform, all these things are you are discussing. Really appreciate the way you presenting. My business line is something different, not related to designing, but my question is more to the process of online or digital sale, those things, because nowadays most of the products are getting sold on online platforms. There are so many ads we are in the digital I mean social media come sell our products here and there, like that. So I am mostly dealing with like products like computer accessories, mobile accessories, those. So due to this last year pandemic, now I am thinking of going online without owning a store. Let's
Yes.
get it go to online. So what do you suggest about the process, like nowadays, if I want to sell something in Amazon, Flipkart, or like those things, there are some legal documentation we need to maintain.
Yes.
But in case
Yes.
of, like, you are talking about FB page and those, in that case, like, if your product is more like you are the creator and you are only selling,
I
but our
understand.
product is more
Question.
like trading, like, so what do you
Yes.
suggest in those cases,
Yes, I
how
understand
it
your
would be more
question.
effective? Okay,
Yes,
you
I
understand, right?
understand your
Okay.
question, and I also understand that our products are very different from each others. I will
Yes,
tell you
yes.
from your perspective, though
Yes,
I
I
have
am asking regarding the process actually. What do you
absolutely.
suggest?
So if you
Yes.
want to be a registered seller on Amazon, see, I also sell my products through sites, not like Amazon or Flipkart, because those are
Okay.
more like bulk products.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is a very niche kind of. So I don't really sell from Amazon or Flipkart, but things like what you sell can be done
Mm-hmm.
through Amazon and Flipkart very easily. But however, firstly, see, my company is a registered company. You can
Yes.
have a proprietorship also, doesn't matter. Secondly,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get your documents in place, like you told yourself. You have to have a trade license. See, nobody might ask you, but nowadays everywhere you want to register your business, for every site that I sell my garments, if I'm
Yes,
selling
I
from,
do have a trade license. I
yes,
am
so trade
having that.
license, a GST number. GST
Mm-hmm.
number, for most of the platforms, they will ask you for a GST number. So it's better to do it in the right way. Like, I have a proper registered business, a company. I have trade license, I have GST, I have every kind of documents that is needed to
Yes.
run a business. It is not like, that I have a Facebook page is just for selling, but I have every document in place. So if you get the documents in place, it is always easier. And in Amazon, it is a very easy process. Like, you directly ship it to the customers,
Customer.
and
Yes.
Amazon takes a cut, a particular percentage from that sale, and that works fine. I think they have very easy return policies, exchange policies, and I think it's a good platform to increase your business. Sometimes, if we do it on our own, the business might take a lot of time to gather that momentum. It is easier if you do it through Amazon or Flipkart. They will charge you a particular percentage, but at the end of the day, you will make more sales. But because
Yes.
of that, GST, trade license, and the papers and documents have to be in place.
So, I mean, do you suggest to go for those platforms or better go
Yes,
for
I
it?
will suggest. Yes. I mean, you can always have your own particular own page, own page, own platform. But at the same time, you can also use these sources, because
Because
these come handy.
this those
And
platforms are getting miss very competitive price. What I have noticed there, very price is very competitive in those platforms
it
because
is,
it's a
it is, it
vast.
is.
Yes.
But at the same time, it will also get you more business. So you have to make that balance between how many pieces you want to sell. In Amazon and Flipkart, you will sell more, and profit might be, for each product, might be a thin margin. But if you do it on your own, you might make a better margin of the profit, but you might sell much lesser than
Much
when you
less.
are selling through Amazon or Flipkart, because they have a bigger clientele, bigger platform.
Okay.
So that
Thank you,
you have
Param.
to take a call. That is your personal
Mhm.
call to take.
Sure. Thank you, Parama. Thank you.
Thank you, Indran.
Thank you.
I missed my opportunity then, so I would want to ask a question
Yeah,
now.
please, Mom, go ahead.
Actually, I live in Bagh Bazaar, and a huge fire has broken out just behind my house.
Oh my
So,
God.
like, we were just all rushing there to see what has happened. So a lot of police, and so that's why I couldn't talk that time. So, Parama, I would want you to, kind of elaborate.
Yes.
Yes, Mom, we cannot hear you. Something wrong at your end?
On the kind of that you build your brand just organically. So the different types of posts you make, you feature your clients, you talk about your stories, if you could list down some of the story ideas, some of the post ideas.
Okay, Mo, I have always, if from what I said today, you might have understood that I'm a very impromptu person. If you ask me what your collections, what do you plan before you want to launch a collection, I would say that first the idea comes, and then it is all very impromptu. Like, sometimes a simple film poster might have inspired me, and I might not have an entire collection made out of that. So my inspirations are very impromptu. What I do not think too much. I mean, what I do is, what connects to me, what I feel has touched a chord in my heart, I try to tell that story. So there is no such huge brain work behind it. It's more of heart work. What touches my heart, I always feel that, you know, I would make something out of it. And about the kind of storytelling, like I'm very glad that you noticed that on my page, that it is always about real people. It is always about all throughout my 6 years, you will see very normal ordinary women on my page wearing my blouses. Normal, ordinary, by ordinary I do not mean they mean nothing. What I mean is they are real women. They are someone we can see on a bus or a tram, waiting at the bus stop. Those kind of women who are who may be on the heftier side, who may be plump, who may be very thin, who may be dark, who may be very fair. And there are all kinds of clients, all kind of women wearing my clothes. Also, our sizes are now size inclusive. I'm a size inclusive brand, in the sense that we make clothes for plus size women, we make clothes for very thin women, we make clothes for everyone. So you will see many clients of different heights, weights, body color wearing my clothes. And I always want to promote my page in such a way that, you know, these photographs of my real clients, those make a lot of difference. Those make your products very convincing to the normal people. If they see a person, a plus size woman wearing your clothes, another plus size woman would be feel comfortable buying things from you. So it's always about real people. I have never shot my clothes on professional models. This is the reason why in the 6 years it's always my colleagues, my mother, myself, my friends from school, my juniors from school, who I use as models. And it's always friends who do it, because I have never hired professional models for my shoots, because that is what I said. For me, it's all real people wearing real clothes.
Yes, Mom, have you heard the reply, or would you like to
Yes,
ask one
yes,
more
yes,
question?
yes. I just wanted her to, I know her different types of posts, but I felt that, if, the others heard it, that will
Yeah.
also kind of help.
Surely. I think I'm hugely benefited by listening to her, and very enriched with what she said. And I find somehow that there are very few people like this nowadays, because people are all kind of westernized, and they don't want to go back to the roots. People have forgotten Bengal to a large extent. Bengalis living out of Bengal have given the city a miss for several years. Now, that's what pains me, and I feel Poroma's discourse has really been something that has connected me to my roots, and I feel very, very proud to have been part of this presentation, as a listener at least. Yeah, we have got Shiv Prakash Shivam, who has a question. Please go ahead. Shiv
Good
Prakash.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I want to say that why do you don't use YouTube platform for sell product? We can use it is better. Thing.
I do not know whether it is better for my kind of products. I have never used YouTube as a channel, because for me, most of my products for product photos for a very long time were static. Like I used to post only product photos. So because of that, I did not need a YouTube channel as such to promote, or a blogger talking about my products. I have never really used that. And now I use small videos of products. Sometimes it is easier for clients to see what the entire thing looks like. For that, Instagram and Facebook has worked well for me. I do not have a YouTube channel. Maybe if I want a collaboration with a social influencer, then might be if she or he has a YouTube channel, that might work. But I have never used as such for my business. Though it's a very, very effective tool that I have heard from people who have used. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Chinmoy Kumar, please go ahead with your question.
Yes, thank you, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I don't know if this is the question I should ask or not, but I really had the urge to ask this. You said that you said that your work is inspired mostly from the nostalgic period of your timeline, or earlier period. So you get got you got the idea to develop on that, the nostalgia, I mean, as a base,
Yeah.
which is really effective. So what what I want to ask, what are the chances of, I mean, legal issues like copyright and similar legal issues? I'm asking this because you were also a lawyer. So I mean, what are the chances of that legal, copyright and similar issues that we might face? Because what happens is that and I'm telling from my personal view, that I tend to watch a lot of videos, and suppose I got the some idea from any particular part of a video. So if I want to make something as taking that as a base, will that be a problem?
See, there are two major differences. One is inspiration, and the other is copying. So there is a vast difference between getting inspired and copying. So now, for literary work and for works of various authors, etc., 60 years after they have 60 years in case of Tagore, generally 50 years after that person has passed away, the copyright is there is no copyright in his work. So how we have, when the copyright for Rabindranath Tagore's work that went off from Vishwabharati's hand, and now anyone can publish anything which Tagore had created. This, of course, I mean, if I do a sari with Tagore's handwriting printed on it, no one will catch me because there is no copyright in his works anymore. 60 years after he has passed away, there is no copyright. But now, obviously, you have to use it very responsibly. It's the responsibility on us. Just because there is no law to hold your collar, you can't do whatever you want to. Similarly, we had a jacket series with Van Gogh's artwork. So obviously, there were no copyright issues as such. Now, if you say talk about the Devi blouse, for instance, which is Satyajit Ray's original work, and the copyright is still there in his work. So I would call it an inspired blouse. It is not a direct copy of the Devi poster in toto on a fabric. It's not, because after all, I'm doing it for commercial use, and I'm using an artist's work. This is obviously his creation, and there is still copyright in his work. So like I said, in case of inspiration, you obviously, we will get inspired by great artists, great filmmakers, great writers, be it Sukumar Rai, be it Satyajit Ray, but we have to use it responsibly. We have to see that inspiration and blatant copy, they are two completely different things. And how you do it, see, it is always, if it's a living artist who you are getting inspired from, it is always necessary that you mention where you are getting inspired from, be it a tune, be it a dance step, be it whatever it is, be it just a pose or a camera placement, how you are taking a photo, everything. You give that credit to that person. Now, if the original person comes and tells you to take it off the internet, then it's his or her call. Like if someone is getting inspired from my designs, which happens almost every day, people are copying designs rampantly every day. At least 10 designs are getting copied. So what do? It is impossible for me to hold collar of everyone or send legal notices to everyone. What I do is sometimes ignore, and sometimes what I do is I ask them that, either you take it off the internet or you give a credit. For us, we can't let them use credit and use our designs because they are doing similar business. So say if you are getting inspired from a particular tune of a song, if you're a music person and you have to give credit to the original person, and if he tells you that you cannot use it, you cannot use it. There is no other way. I mean, he can issue legal notice against you and take legal action. Though in India it takes a lot of time and lot of patience, lot of money, but I mean, he can sue you in a legal court. Yes.
Yeah, I think this is a question which I also was thinking of asking you, but then it's good Chinmay has asked you and you have clarified. Good. I would ask a slightly different question, Paroma, like quite different kind of a question. You are a lawyer by by your training and practice for 10 years.
Yes.
So when you left the practice of law, what kind of resistance did you face from family and the people closest to you? you were giving up an established career in law and jumping into something that you were very passionate about, all right. But then the future was very, very uncertain at that point of time. So what kind of
uncertain, sir, and most importantly, I had a very funny thing which my cousin had told me. He said that জনঅরণ্য বাঙালিদের মাথাটা খেলো, because of that particular scene where Utpal Datta says that you're a Bengali, you will beg, why will you know, do a business? And you know, I think for most of us that is a turning point. We all got inspired when we were young and when we watched জনঅরণ্য, and we realized that you know, even Bengalis can do business in all communities of India. I think Bengalis are the most looked down upon when it comes to business. They say বাঙালিদের দ্বারা ব্যবসা হয় না, and they also think that a person who does business is kind of a cunning man. And we look down upon Marwaris because they make so much of money. I have heard that all my life, that you know, people who make money are bad people. But people who make money are like Mohanlal Meghraj, and people who make losses are good people. People who have money are bad people. So this I've heard all my life, and you know, and because working in law firm, getting a fat salary check is more like a white collar thing, and why would you leave that? And my father said that, what is this designing thing? This is like a sophisticated tailoring. So I told him that, what is Sabyasachi Mukherjee? And he told me he's a sophisticated tailor. So for my father, Sabyasachi Mukherjee is also a sophisticated tailor. So but this is how we have grown up, you know, for our middle class background, from what we have grown up in, middle class in our thinking, because we always think that if you, my father is a government servant, so for him, obviously if you don't work in a government organization, and if you can't lose your job till you are 60. So if that is not your way of life, you have achieved nothing in your life. So obviously he was dead against me living a full-fledged, I was a peak of my career. I was a senior associate then of a leading, I have always worked with leading law firms in Calcutta, the best law firm in India. I have worked with 2 best law firms in India. So obviously he thought that, you know, how could I was also the university topper, sadly, in law. So he thought that, you know, my gold medalist daughter is leaving her law career and what she wants to be a sophisticated tailor, but then without any training in tailoring. So but then, you know, I think after 2 years, when he saw how the business was growing, and now I think he supports me more than anyone else does, and I think I have made him quite proud. He's very proud, because at the end of the day, you know, for my mother, I have never felt any resistance from my in-laws. I have never faced any assistance. My husband is also on his own. We are both no jobs. So we say that the good thing about it is we don't have to ask for permission when we are going for a holiday. So sometimes for my working friends, they tell me that, you know, suddenly at the midweek you are taking a holiday, but that's the best part of being your own boss. So both of us, my husband and I, are both on our own. We have our own businesses, and obviously that's quite a rude shock for a Bengali middle class household. But yes, I mean, we are doing fine. His is a 7 years, mine is a 6-year business, and we don't have any plans of going back to jobs anymore.
Very good. Fantastic. Okay, fine. Prem, are there any more people who want to ask any questions, or else we'll close the show?
Presently, there is no raise hand. Only the questions is in the question answer section.
Those I have asked already, and I think there are not too many interesting questions there. I think finally I would like to thank Paroma for the fascinating session that she has delivered, and personally I'm very, very indebted to her for the session. I've learned a lot, and I've been very happy to reconnect with her as a Bengali, as a fiercely proud Bengali, and I hope the clan grows and we have many more people like that. I only wish that I get to meet more of such people. And Paroma, we would love to have you back on some other day, and maybe have one more storytelling session of yours. You are a wonderful storyteller. There's no doubt about that. And let me vouch for that personally. And it has been a wonderful session. Mom, I think you could also say a few words, thank her for appearing on our show and giving us
very kind, sir. Thank you so much. You're very kind.
Oh, you're most welcome. You have really been fantastic. Mom, please go ahead.
Thank you, Paroma. This was a wonderful session. You know, And this is the first time actually even I was hearing her. So it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And I get her and she gets me, though she doesn't know me. So it's like that, you know.
Good. Paroma, you have one more fan in me. Mom already is a fan of yours. Add me to your fan list. Okay. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best, all the success that comes your way, and hope you grow even bigger and famous.
Comments have shared and comment a lot of levels.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Paroma, for being with us. Thank you so much. Let me thank you on behalf of the university, on behalf of my Honorable Vice Chancellor, on behalf of my Director, School of Management. Let me thank you on behalf of the participants and everybody else on the panel. Thank you so much, and do come back again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. You can now take your leave, Paroma. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Prem, if you